What's going on, guys? Noobs here, and I'm joined once again by...
Burrhe! Hi, it's me again.
Hooray! Welcome. We're reviewing another game. It's been a while, but we did promise you guys a review of Celeste. So, first of all, I want to talk about the story in this game, and most importantly, finally, a game that represents my culture. And I would say is a 100% accurate representation of life in Canada.
Oh, it's set in Canada, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Jeez, I forgot about that. Of course, the guy with like the checkered shirt and the weird hiker guy. Yeah, that.
I'm terrible. I'm going to get some hate for this because I tend to gloss over the story in games a lot. But what I can tell you is that your character is not named Celeste. In fact, Celeste is the name of the mountain that you're climbing. And your character's named Madeline, or Madeline. Madeline?
I would say Madeline, but that's just my UK pronunciation.
Okay, well let's go with Madeline. And then what? I don't know why does she climb the mountain?
She's looking to like get away from life. I think like she's looking for an escape and some goal to achieve.
Okay.
And I think it's basically a metaphor. Like the mountain is a metaphor in her head for overcoming like social anxiety and things like that.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. It seemed to be about kind of her personal journey and sort of wrestling with her own demons.
Literally.
Yes, literally that. Yes. I don't know how much of the story we want to get into. That might be spoilery for people.
I mean, just as a general overview, yeah, it's definitely focused on a girl's, I guess, just sort of like that sort of young teenage age, and she seems like clearly either just very socially anxious or just in generally depressed about life, and she's basically given herself this one focus of climbing up this mountain, which you see in game, but I guess, like we've already said, it's a bit of an allegory of sorts for how she's dealing with it in real life.
And along the way, she meets a couple of other people. I wouldn't say they're huge. They don't... Really, it's about her. The other characters come and go. They're not that important.
Yeah, she forms relationships with them, and they help her out on her journey. And then she, in turn, passes what she's learned on her journey to other people to help them out as well. And I do like how the story, and like everything else in the game, actually feeds into the gameplay, and we'll talk about it more in the gameplay section, I guess. But like the story, as she's progressing through her journey, the gameplay elements will change to match it and how she's feeling.
Right.
And I really enjoyed that aspect of it. That's definitely something I've been missing for a while in like particularly 2D platformers. Actually, like not many 2D platformers do that.
Yeah, it sets a really different tone than what you might be used to, especially in a platformer, like you said. You're up on this mountain. You feel very isolated. It feels very cold. It's certainly very dangerous up there, which is reflected in the gameplay. And I think even if you're like me and you mostly ignore the story, you can still just really appreciate the tone of the game, kind of the mood that it sets. It's something so different if you're used to your standard Nintendo platformers. So gameplay, as we said, it's a platformer, a 2D platformer.
And what a nice platformer to control.
Yes. Just there's a sort of a precision or like a crispness. What would you
Both of
say?
those,
Just like the feeling of moving your character around.
If you've played like Super Meat Boy, it feels, in control-wise, as tight as that. Not as fast-paced in some respects as Super Meat Boy, because Super Meat Boy runs like Billy-O. Whereas, so her platforming itself is a bit more slow-paced, but the controls are so tight and nice.
There's like kind of a section. The game is broken up into chapters, and each chapter is like one long level. Although within that, I mean, basically every screen is like a level, right?
Yeah, I loved that breakup.
Yeah, and like these are tough. And you will die hundreds of times. The game, for better or worse, tracks how many times you die.
Oh, it's so generous with keeping track. I just really needed that.
So it's one of these games where when you die, and you will die all the time, it's very quick. You just are like immediately back to try again. There's no kind of like, oh, you died screen or something.
Do. No,
right,
none of that.
Right. And every time you try, you learn a little more, you get a little better, and every kind of screen is a learning process, right? It was pretty rare for me to actually just clear like a section, one off.
That's literally what I was about to say. Then you get the odd screen that you do really well. It's like, yeah, I'm getting better at this, and the next one just destroys you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, no, bam, just like sits you back down. It's like, no.
Which is really cool. It's different for me, at least.
I loved how it was a constant challenge, even once you've got the hang of the gameplay. It'll introduce, like you said, like every chapter has its own, not quite gimmick, but it's essentially a gimmick, but it plays really nicely and adds a nice feeling of progression to the game.
Yeah.
So that the gameplay never gets dull, even though you're just pressing the same 2 buttons over and over again.
Yeah, and your moveset is there's like very little to it,
Your moveset doesn't really change, but the environment changes, and it's really nice.
And I'd say there's a nice progression in difficulty as well. Like, it starts hard, and then it just gradually gets harder from there. But it's difficult without being punishing, right? Because you're not sitting through load screens and like, oh, I died right at the end, and now I've got to like replay a bunch of boring stuff. It's still fun and exciting to do it again.
Yeah, I loved that. Like, this is the kind of, like, it invoked in me immediately that feeling of, I've got to beat this. I'm not letting it defeat me.
Right. So your character, she can jump, she can kind of grab and climb walls, and the big one is like an air dash. That's really the meat of it. I would say that's the most important move.
Also on those wall climbs and wall jumps, there's like big long sections of having to climb up and jump off walls, and that you have like a hidden stamina bar in there, and as soon as that stamina runs out, you can't grab onto the wall anymore, so you can't hang around on the walls either. You've got to move.
Yeah, that's true too, which keeps you going too, right? You can't just like sit there and like try to figure out, okay, I gotta do this jump, this jump, this jump. It forces you to make the leap of faith. And if you die, no big deal. Try again.
Yeah, no big deal. That's why I was like saying, like, the story feeds into the gameplay because it makes you feel and it invokes that feeling of going on this journey with Madeline, because she's clearly going through some stuff in her life. And this game is making you go through that same stuff by playing it. Like, no, you're doing terrible. No, but you have to like embody Madeline and keep going and push through it to achieve this goal, and that you become Madeline through playing the game. That's why I so love about this story. Not just you're playing as Madeline, you embody her outside of the game, and the same feelings. It's so cool.
Well, okay, so the other thing gameplay wise that I wanted to bring up was there is the shame mode, assist mode.
So I'll talk about it in more details later when we talk about like collectibles and replay value, but I didn't touch it until I'd completed the game flat. I didn't even touch it.
Yeah.
Like I went, no, not for me. And then when I went back through it to get like collectibles and search the levels, I turned like basically invincibility on and maximum jumps and just like combed every single level looking for all the secrets and stuff.
It's a completely different experience with it on, isn't it?
You don't go through, like what I said, like it doesn't feel like you're going through a trial like Madeline is.
So when you go into this section, there's like a message that comes up that's like, well, we really designed this game to be played without this on.
It like shames you, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it goes into what you were saying, right? Because if you turn these on, you won't have that same experience, that you won't embody Madeline anymore with these on.
Yeah.
Playing without these is the way to go for the first round, but I think you're onto something with turning them on to go back for the collectibles. Okay, so moving on, yes, collectibles and replay value. So throughout the game there are, for whatever reason, strawberries. I don't really understand why strawberries, but they gotta give you something to collect, so I guess why not?
I guess because, like, thinking about from the game dev's point of view, the aesthetic is very snowy, icy, mountainy, So it's like blues, purples, kind of like softer colors. So they needed something that was red to like stand out.
That makes sense.
Why not strawberries?
Sure.
Strawberries are red.
There you go. Makes sense to me. These are completely optional collectibles, and I guess they very minimally affect kind of the ending.
I love how, like, up front it just tells you, but by the way, you don't need these. Just
I
heads
think
up.
it says something like these are really just to show your friends or something.
Yeah, like bragging rights, yeah.
Yeah. So they are hidden throughout. Usually it's just a matter of a little extra tricky platforming to grab them.
Yeah, like fun challenges. Like, I enjoyed doing the sections to get the strawberries, and also hated them sometimes.
Yeah, for the most part, they're not too tough to get.
They're like of the standard of the rest of the level. They're just like, I guess, more to the level that you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make it any harder or easier. It just takes longer because you're doing more parts of the level.
Right, exactly. Do a little more exploration or check something out you wouldn't have otherwise gone for.
Yeah.
But there are trickier collectibles as well. So I think it's just one per chapter, right, for the B-sides.
The B-side tapes, yeah.
Yeah, which are, they're cassette tapes, one per chapter. These are, I would say, more difficult and more out of the way to find.
They're much harder to find, and their little level is pretty tricky. But I love how they're designed, those areas to get to the cassette tapes. How they're all like rhythm based, and it's really cool. Like, there's like a beat going on, and like the platforms flash on and off to the rhythm, and I really enjoyed that. And
these actually do give you something in the game. These unlock kind of an even harder mode for each chapter, which it's sort of, the chapters are like remixed, right?
They kind of like flip the level upside down or something like that, and then they put really hard obstacles in there.
How much of these did you play?
I actually went back and did one or two of them when you started playing. But I did the chapter 1's B-side when I was playing through it and went, this is really hard. I'll go back to these at the end. Like I managed to get through it, but like I was just thinking to myself, like, whole game's gonna take me forever. I just want to get through the story first, and then I'll go back. And I think I did like chapters 2 and 3 before Octopath like took over my life.
I opened up the B-side for chapter 1 and very quickly was like, maybe later.
Have you gone back to play any of them yet?
No. It overwhelmed me.
But that's like what we said with like all this replay value.
Yeah. That's true.
We've got a whole load of other chapters that are now more challenging to go back to. Like, you don't have to play the same levels again.
Yeah, which is
there's
really
new
cool.
content
so
there.
You can play through the game just normally the first time. Then you can go back, collect all the strawberries, with or without assist mode on. You can find all the B-sides, and then you can play the B-sides. And I think I saw somewhere there that there's C-sides as well.
I did not see or hear about that. I know there's like big gems, like heart gems.
Yeah, so
Did
that's
you find
the
any
one
of those?
other collectible, is these crystal hearts, I think they are. So I looked this up. Yeah, there's one per chapter as well, and then if you get them all, then you get like a bonus world.
So essentially, we've got to the end of like the main story mode, and that's where we're reviewing it.
Yeah.
And I'm at the point where I'm looking forward, maybe even like a few years like down the line, going back to this game and then playing those bits. Like, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think that's what's so great about it is you don't have to just pick it up and replay the same game again, because there's so much else that you can go back to collect or play these various B-sides, C-sides. There's so much to it. Now, I only got the crystal heart on the first chapter, but it was really tricky. Actually, I used a guide to figure out what you were supposed to do for it.
When you do find the crystal hearts, there's really cool extra things. Like, it's not just straightforward, oh, you found it.
Right.
It's like, there's something here, but what's going on? There's like a bit of mystery to it.
Yeah, you gotta kind of work it out.
Yeah, and there's like this little puzzling that's cool.
Yeah.
And unexpected in your 2D platformer. That's been just basically brutal.
Yeah, it's different from the rest of the game too, right?
Like, yeah, it wasn't physically demanding. It was just like,
right.
All right, sit here for a bit and work it out.
Yeah, it uses a different part of your brain. And so finally, let's move on to graphics and music, which, man, this game, I love the look of this game. Just, it really ties into the whole aesthetic that we've been talking about this whole time. Just like, you feel cold, you feel isolated, you feel like you're in danger.
Yeah.
You're not just on a mountain, but you're on a mountain that's been sort of abandoned and has like kind of this broken down buildings and things on it.
Like, has a reputation for messing up people's lives and stuff.
Yeah, and it really comes through in the graphics. It's fairly simple looking pixel art, but so much of just the lighting effects and
simple looking pixel art, but really good pixel art at that.
Yeah, I'm not a lot to say there. It just, I love it.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's a really gorgeous game. Like, I'm sure you've been watching it for the past however many minutes this video's been going on for. Like, it's a really good looking game.
Yeah, and then each chapter looks a little different.
It's got a different aesthetic to it.
Yeah, each one you work through.
Madeline progresses in her journey of the mind and spirit.
Now, here is another thing I'm going to catch a lot of hate for, which is I oftentimes turn down or off the music in games so I can listen to podcasts and things. So tell me about the music.
Did you not listen to the music in this one?
Very little.
Oh, the music is so good. I think, like when I was talking about collecting the B-side tapes, like the music, it feels almost rhythmic in terms of like the music plays into the gameplay like the story does. Like, it evokes the feeling of the area really nicely. And when there's like objects that are moving in the world, they'll move in time with the music.
See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, man, you missed out. I mean, I understand why you listen to podcasts and stuff. I do that sometimes as well, but I just kind of got hooked on this music, and it's a really great example of, you should just go back and listen to the music.
Yeah, I guess.
In its own merit at some point, because the music's a really good example of chiptune stuff. The whole atmosphere, along with the story and the gameplay, just enveloped me and sucked me into the world, and then beat me in the face a few times, and then made me feel happy about myself having accomplished something.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right?
Married together really well.
They all tie together. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts, right?
Absolutely.
They all work to enhance each other.
But as you said, like, you turned the music and graphics off and had a great time with it.
Yeah.
Like, the parts themselves are exceptional. Like, the gameplay on its own, if the story wasn't there, the gameplay on its own would carry it and be a great game. The story on its own is a really nice story about a girl coming to terms with depression and how to deal with it. And the music and graphics, again, like I said, go and listen to it yourself on your own, because it's really good music. And you can see the graphics are good as well. All of those individual parts are great, but as you said, those sums of the parts make it even greater.
That's all I have to say about the game.
Yeah, I think that's all I need to say going forward as well. That's a good summary for me. I'm happy with that.
What did we say last time? I think I asked you like if you recommend it or not. I think the last game I said I strongly recommend.
I don't recommend this game at all.
No?
It's a terrible game. No, don't buy this.
Avoid
at all
costs.
No, of course not. What, have you been listening to anything I've been saying? What a fantastic game. Utterly fantastic. If you haven't and you love 2D platformers, you are doing yourself a disservice, and you should buy it, in my opinion.
This, I agree completely. This is a strong recommend from me as well. Don't wait for it to go on sale or anything like that. If you have any interest in platforming games at all, you gotta play it.
I honestly think this is the best 2D platform of like the past 5 or so years.
Wow.
Because I can't think back past 5 years about what games. Like, it's one of the best 2D platformers I've played.
We've kind of established, I guess, a tradition now of teasing our next review. And we've also already in this video hinted at what that might be. It's going to be Octopath Traveler.
Yeah.
And this is another one where I am way behind.
Tune back in a couple of months, guys.
Yeah, it's I mean,
one.
Celeste is a pretty quick game, but Octopath Traveler, oh man.
I mean, obviously we're doing Octopath next, but what do you guys want to see us review next as well after that? What kind of games do you want to see us play? Like, we were going to be focusing on indie titles, but obviously Octopath had to happen at some point.
Yeah, we most of the time though, I think we want to focus on like cheaper things, indie things, download things, spotlight games that don't get as much attention. All right, well, I will say, let us know, guys, what you think of Celeste, and thanks for watching.